Okay, online entrepreneur from Nigeria, welcome. Welcome to this live session. We'll be starting in a short while as more people join us. Good to be here. Welcome. Chukwudi Chinedu, welcome. We'll be starting soon. Hello, Ehinomen. Welcome. Welcome to this session. Simply Nedi here. Welcome. Hi, man heaven. Welcome to this session. Wow, Gliss, welcome. Welcome. 50 and beyond. Welcome, madam. Income Push Hub. Welcome, ma. Thanks everyone for coming on board. We'll be starting soon. And today we'll be discussing a topic on leadership. I hope you will be contributing to the discussion through the comment section. Comment section. Thank you. Emeka Oba, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's apt. The topic is really apt, and I think it's going to be helping us. Welcome, Madam Joy. Okay. Now, welcome everyone. My name is Ernestina Nwannedirim Anierobi, and my channel is into motivation and inspiration. You know, the focus of my channel is to inspire and motivate people to do that is considered impossible. And looking at across the what is happening, looking at what is happening across the world with the wind of election blowing across the US currently, and then coming home to Nigeria. Dima, welcome. Coming home to Nigeria, you know, we had our own election last year, and today we are enjoying the outcome. Whether good or bad is an outcome, because every election has a consequence, and it's the outcome of our election we are enjoying. And so it's kind of triggers this need to continue discussion on leadership, to inspire everyone, or rather to raise the consciousness in everyone that leadership is important. You know, we cannot shy away from the fact that impactful leaders are in demand. Actually, the topic we are treating today is impactful leadership. Impactful leadership. We're going to be looking at impactful leadership, what it is. Sally Bound, you are welcome. Welcome. Thank you for logging on. Welcome. We'll be looking at impactful leadership, the characteristics of impactful leaders, and then how impactful leaders, inspire or create lasting impact. How impactful leaders create lasting impact. So we're going to start with the definition of impactful leader. Who is an impactful leader? Or what is impactful leadership? Impactful leadership is about making a positive difference in the lives of others. Making a positive difference in the lives of others, communities, families, states, nation, continents, the world at large. You know, wherever we have people gathered together, there's always need for leadership. You find leadership almost everywhere. There is no sphere of life that you don't find leadership. Unicorn Visuals, you are welcome. Sophia Natural Remedies, you are welcome, ma. Thank you for joining. So we are continuing. So we are looking at impactful leadership. And I'm trying to explain that leadership is needed everywhere people gather. No matter how little the group is, there's always need for leadership. Look at family. Even God made it from the beginning that there will be a leadership in every family. The leadership in family is not even exclusive to the man. There is leadership from the woman's angle, there's leadership from the children angle. Because if children are assigned on things to do, assuming someone has maybe like 2, 3, 4, or 5 children and assigns them responsibility, every child becomes a leader within the responsibility that is assigned to that child. So you find out that leadership is needed everywhere. Look at even as little as a classroom of maybe primary school or junior secondary. You have class captain, you have monitors, because there is need for someone to be in front of the rest. That tells you how important leadership is. So it is something that will not be overlooked or can never be overemphasized. There is need for impactful leadership wherever people gather, starting from the family to every little unit, societies, communities, local governments, states, nations, continents, and globally. When global leaders are impactful, the world will be better for it. So this is what is motivating this discourse. And it's not going to be something that will just exhaust within this scheduled live session, which is going to be for an hour. I hope that this discussion will continue as we explore different aspects of this topic, because what I have outlined earlier, they are not the all that is needed. There's still more to come, like looking at global impacts and those leaders that have actually made global impact. We'll get to that when we'll now begin to bring out those examples of leaders that have made impact. The essence of all this is to inspire the genuine desire and motivation, to step out to be the difference. Because someone has to solve this problem. Wherever there is a problem, there's always need for someone to solve the problem. And the problem is normally solved by leadership. That is how important what we are discussing today is. Peter Omo, welcome. Welcome from Lagos. Welcome. Welcome. Uju Angela, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Let me continue. So now, you now ask yourself, what are the characteristics? We have already heard that impactful leaders or impactful leadership is about making a positive difference in the lives of people, in the lives of nations, in the lives of community, in the lives of our associations, wherever we are gathered. That impactful leadership is that one that makes a positive difference in our lives. So what are the characteristics of impactful leaders? There are many characteristics of impactful leaders, but the first one we are going to consider is visionary. That impactful leaders are visionary. They see beyond the lead. Every, in the chapter 7 of my book, Sense Models for the Pilgrim Church, I did a writing in chapter 7 about about the Pilgrim Church facing up with contemporary challenges. Facing up with contemporary challenges. Within this chapter, it is only this chapter in this my book that does not dwell solely on sense. It dwelt on the living and also on how they navigate through challenges. And the issue of leadership also came up within this chapter, where I discussed some aspect of leadership. I talked about the grace of leadership. I'm bringing this up to marry it with the characteristics of being visionary. The characteristics of being visionary is fueled by the fact that the leader has a grace of leadership impacted on him at the time he took up that responsibility. Every leadership has a grace of leadership impacted. It is the grace of leadership that is bestowed on a leader that enables him to do good if he wants to. Do you understand where I'm going to now? If he wants to, there's a grace of leadership. Some people don't even know that because they are occupying a certain position, that there is a power vested on them by God. That is why the scripture said that all authority comes from God and demands that we, that are not Christians. It's all holy books have things on leadership. I'm sure that there will still be something about on this, but the Bible encourages people to be subject to authorities. But now, this same authority that you are subject to is also subject to God. It's subject to God. It is not total. There is nobody in this world that is an authority that is not subject to another authority. That is how it is. At every point in time where you are subject, no matter who you are leading, you are subject to some higher authority. But each and every one of these authority have their own grace. Every leader at every stage has a grace of leadership. So if you know that you have this grace, it helps you to have a vision of where, to bring forth that vision that will take your people to where you want them to go to. A visionary leader is the one that sees tomorrow. He sees, more than those that he's leading. He has a broader view of everything. He is at the front. He thinks faster and he knows more. He may not even know everything complete, but because of this position that is bestowed on him, he has a grace that enables him to see more than others. And also, if he wants to take these people to anywhere, he will be able to accomplish it. Consigal, welcome. So the next thing is that impactful leaders are inspirational. They inspire people, to step forward and make things happen. They motivate and inspire people to step forward and make things happen. An inspiring leader is the one that draws inspiration from himself. He himself is the inspirer. So he has no room, to get tired. He can't say, oh, I'm bored. He cannot, because he's the one that is expected to be the one to inject inspiration into others and then make them to sit up and do that they were thinking that they cannot do. So impactful leaders are inspirational. It is one of their very important characteristics. Then, impactful leaders are also empathic. When you look at empathic, you look at taking a second look at situations. I have this disposition, that I always talk about taking a second look. I am a past chairperson of the Society of Women Accountants of Nigeria, and when my leadership came into place, the association was in my chapter. The association was just 2 years. 2 years. I was the second chairperson, so the association was quite new. So there was need to put a lot of things in place. it needed someone that we understand what is needed to be put on ground. And by the mercies and help of God, we're able to do so. So I've always talked about taking a second look, because it's empathy that will make you to reach out and do something different. A lot of people don't care, even leaders. A lot of people don't care. If a leader doesn't care, he does not care what happens to you. If you like, eat. If you don't like, that's your business. If you have money, that's your business. If you don't have money, it's none of his business. He had taken his position. He's making his money. He's running. If everything is okay for him and his family, and maybe his associates or whatever, whoever he wants to have, the rest of you can go to hell. It doesn't. It does not concern him. That is not an impactful leader. An impactful leader is empathic. He cares. Yes, he cares. He looks beyond himself. In fact, an impactful leader carries the burden of the organization and the people within the organization or society or group or association, whatever, whether it is family, wherever, just like I described at the beginning. A leader that is empathic cares about what is happening to members of his group. And then he goes ahead to make sure that he takes a second look to find out how he can ameliorate that situation. If there is anything he can do to make a change in the life of the person, that is the work of an impactful leader. He's empathic and he takes a second look. There are people that don't. Taking a second look is something that comes out of empathy. And then you, as the leader, the second look, you can see what others are not seeing. Then you'll be able to use your position to change that situation. So empathic leaders are need. The world in their need of empathic. When there are empathic leaders here and there, wars will reduce. Yes, wars will reduce, because there are always ways of settling quarrels or coming to a compromise. When there are maybe superpowers, and among these superpowers, there are empathic leaders among them, they can come together and douse tension where there is tension, and then allow peace to reign. Because they will take a second look and weigh options and consequences of their action. But most of the time, it is not always like that. But we are discussing this because we want to raise consciousness in the mind of people, especially younger people coming up, to imbibe the right character, build their mind up, and also prepare themselves for leadership positions. Now, going forward, you talk about being authentic. Being authentic. How can, an impactful leader is authentic. He's authentic. You are not looking for him. He's available. You can see him. You can reach him. You can actually see his mind. He speaks from his passion, and you can actually feel it. There's a connection. There's a connection between him and the people he is leading. He's authentic to himself. He's sincere. So because of this disposition, people can easily reach him. If he takes decision, he takes it out of sincerity, of purpose, not to hurt anybody. Even if it's a hard decision that he takes it for the good of all, and for the ultimate goal of making sure that the organizational or societal goal or group goal is achieved. He takes those decisions out of sincerity. No hidden agenda. So you can actually see his mind and his heart, and can make a connection between his actions and the organizational objectives. Impactful leaders are courageous. They are courageous. Leadership sometimes can be dangerous. use the word term dangerous. And if a leader is fearful, he may not have the courage to take certain decisions because of fear of certain people. And it takes a leader that has the ability and courage to fear God and not man, to do certain things right. Where there are things going wrong, it takes the fear of God to right those things. Yes, there's something called eye service. An impactful leader is not an eye service person. He may be diplomatic. In most political settings, people use this word, or even in corporate circles, people use this word, being diplomatic, being diplomatic, being diplomatic. Yeah, you are diplomatic, but there is a distinction between being diplomatic and also being courageous. There has to be a distinction. There has to be a meeting point between courage and diplomacy. Diplomacy is fine. Global politics, local politics, everywhere. Diplomacy is a course of study in its own. And people want to study how they will be diplomatic. And most of the time, in the course of trying to say they are diplomatic, they shield themselves from responsibility because they hide under diplomacy. So there has to be a balance between being diplomatic and being courageous to do the right thing. Otherwise, that thing that is expected of this particular leader in this situation will remain. That problem will not be solved. He will now diplomatically shield himself from responsibility and go away, and the problem persists. We are looking at a situation where we raise consciousness in the mind of people who can boldly take up responsibility without fear of certain people amend a rotten situation for the good of all and society. So an impactful leader is courageous. Around the world, we see people like that. We look as we move on in this discourse, we'll be able to bring up such examples for us to examine what they did differently. Yes, there are many of them across the world. With time, we'll be able to get to a point where we'll look at each and every one of these ones. Some examples are across the world, men and women of impact that have courageously done things that others couldn't do to bring a difference, make a difference in their nations, that today they are well off. Impactful leaders are collaborative. They collaborate. They make collaborations within the organization or their group and outside their group. Because this leader is a visionary, most of the vision he puts forward for the organization has to be achieved through collaboration. So he collaborates. He is able to find talents, strengths within the organization. If there are places where he's going to give responsibility, he'll be able to identify the person that will fill up each gap. He identifies talents, strengths within his organization and outside his organization. So where there is a gap that he needs to fill, he is able to find collaborators wherever they are. He makes friends with them and then brings them, to become a help to his group or organization or country or whatever, because nobody is an island. So the impactful leaders are able to collaborate within and outside his organization, all in the bid to achieve the objective or the vision or mission, as the case may be. But at every point in time, an impactful leader is able to identify who can help him succeed. And then he reaches out and brings such people, into this collaboration to be able to achieve his target for the organization or for the society. Thank you, Shooks. Thank you, Ehinome. Thank you, everyone. Adaptable, adaptable. Impactful leaders are adaptable. That's another characteristics of an impactful leader. He's adaptable. He can change. He can weigh situations, and you know he's flexible. He's not rigid. Oh no, it must be like this. If he sees a higher perspective, because when a leader is leading, he's not leading alone. Every leader leads with people, even in families. Even in families, a man is the head of the home, but he's not the ultimate leader. He is there, and he takes ideas from the wife, from the children, from his extended family. You find out that there are perspectives that are brought together to make sure that things are done right. So an impactful leader is able to be, flexible, adaptable in such a way that he's able to he's able to accommodate, let me use that's the word, accommodate the views of others that will enable him to achieve the aim of the group, organization, or a nation or state, or wherever he is leading, even family. So impactful leaders are flexible, they are resilient, they are able to navigate change and uncertainty. They lead with agility. Impactful leaders are also accountable. A time like now, I don't even know how to describe it, but we'll find out that sometimes we have leaders that don't just want to talk about accountability. They don't even want to hear that they will give account of what they are doing. But impactful leaders are accountable to themselves and also to the organization or to the group or the people he's leading, whichever place this leadership is found. He's first accountable to himself, and then accountable to these people, and also ultimately accountable to God. You see, so accountability is something that you cannot do away with in leadership. And if you tell yourself that I will be accountable, you start by being accountable to yourself first. You examine yourself and know your values, whether you are living up to your values or principles or standards. That is when you begin to be accountable to yourself as a leader. And then you now move on and account to your group, your nation, your state, your local government, your community, your association, your family. Do you know that a man is the head of the home, but he's accountable to his family? Yeah. Shooks, I can see many of them are selfish. Yes, that is it. But what we are trying to discuss is to try to see how we raise the consciousness of people doing the right thing in leadership. It's not all about self. Leadership transcends self, because you are no longer, if you are leading people, your own good is not primary anymore. It is the good of the people you are leading that is primary before your own, because you have been given a higher responsibility. So your own interest will not be ultimate. The ultimate interest is the interest of the people you are leading. Yeah, Esther, impactful leaders are truly adaptable. Yes, you are right. Impactful leaders are really adaptable. So I was talking about being accountable, that some leaders don't want to hear about accountability. Do you know, I'm an auditor, I own a firm of chartered accountants, Ernestina Nwannedirim and co-chartered accountants. So I'm an auditor. And, auditing in itself is enshrined in our laws, is everywhere. After you've talked about accounting, then you talk about auditing. But do you know that when some people are in leadership, there are two words they don't want to hear about. It's accounting, being accountable, or having the affairs audited. Let me even chip in, because this is my profession. When you talk about audit, it does not mean that there is money missing. Having the books audited or the process audited does not mean that something has gone wrong. It means that you are bringing in expertise, external expertise, to look at what was done and to ratify it and to endorse it. That's what audit does. Audit gives a greater power to you when you are a leader and you have made an account. If you allow audit of the account you provided for your organization, then you are transparent. You are willing to open up. You have no skeleton in your cupboard. But when there are things you want to hide, once you hear the word audit, you become afraid. The first thing that comes to your mind is that they want to say that I have eaten money or I have done this. No, that is not true. Audit brings checks and balance. It helps to stabilize the organization. It endorses the account that was presented and ensures that proper things are done through the recommendations that the auditor gives. So, if a government or a leadership is not accountable, he does not want to submit himself to audit, to be given a clean bill, then the organization or the nation or whoever or whatever group that this leader is leading is doomed. They are doomed because they have no direction. They have no direction. It does not matter whether things are done properly. You must be accountable. Don't say, I'm a good man, I'm a good woman, I'm a big madam. Why would they be asking for audit? Why would they be asking for account? No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Accountability is vital to leadership. If you are leading, you must account to the people. Account yourself first. If you have values, then account yourself and tell yourself whether your values, you have lived up to your value in this position. If you have not lived up to your own personal convictions, then you have to make amend. Then you now come to the people you are leading and then open up the books for them to see. It doesn't matter if there is fraud. Then look, I don't know how else we are going to say this, but we cannot overemphasize the fact that accountability is lacking in many leaderships, and we need it to change. We need it to change. How can we make progress? How can we? The only way we can make progress is to allow people see what we are doing, to show there is no skeleton in our cupboard. Allow accounting to take place. Allow auditing to take place. Allow someone to say, yes, you've done the right thing. And then the organization can survive. The association can grow. The proper thing can be put in place. Even if there is fraud, the origin or whatever that caused that fraud can be detected and amended, and proper checks put in place to forestall further occurrence. That is how leadership is done. But when someone is in leadership and closes up everywhere, oh my God. So that is it. It's very unfortunate that we see this kind of thing happen in places, but we want a change. We want to inspire the desire to do the right things in the mind of everyone, so that our families, our societies, associations, states, governments, at all levels will be better off for it. Now, there is another characteristics of impactful leadership, impactful leader, that is coachable. They are teachable, coachable, or teachable. They are teachable. A person that is progressive is always a learning person. I hope you know. If you are a progressive, you are always ready to learn new things. And the things you learn can come while you are a leader. You are able to identify that I need more knowledge in this area and adapt yourself to learning so that you can be better. And then, when you open yourself up to learning and feedback and growth and self-improvement, you'll be able to seek guidance and even mentorship, and be able to inspire more opportunities. So everyone needs to improve all the time. There is no end to learning. There is no end to learning. We need to keep learning. If you are in leadership, you will lead, you will learn. If you are coachable, you learn. You spread your wings and look out to see where you can learn new things, new ideas, better ways of doing things, and bring it in to your own organization. That's what could happen when a nation that is fumbling can look up to other nations. If an impactful leader takes a mantle of leadership of a nation that is wobbling and that doesn't have direction, he will reach out because he's coachable, he's teachable, he's ready to learn a better way of doing things. He will be able to reach out wherever this innovation is. He reaches out and brings it home. He's able to yield himself to learning. He doesn't close out and say, no, I have everything. No. If he does that, the people are doomed because they can't grow. They can't grow. So when impactful leaders take mantle of leadership of a wobbling nation, he reaches out across the world to find the best brain to learn from. It is possible. And then when he learns, with that same passion, he is able to bring in those things he had learned to transform his society. So we are in their need of coachable, teachable, and impactful leaders. We cannot overemphasize. There are many characteristics, but as we are talking about the one after the other, we need to know that these characteristics are interwoven. They are interwoven, and so when they come together, when all these characteristics are infused, you find out that things work very well. Impactful leaders are purpose-driven. You cannot lead a people or a nation or a state, or you can't lead successfully without purpose, without focus. Impactful leaders are purpose-driven. They determine the purpose of their taking up the mantle of leadership even from the beginning, and they run with it. When they are running with this purpose, they are able to crush obstacles, hindrances, because they have a good intention. And just like I talked about the grace of leadership, this is where you find leaders that make impact. Do you understand? This is where by that time, he starts deploying his grace with the purpose he's chasing. You find out that realizing this purpose becomes very easy. He's able to achieve the purpose for which he has come into leadership and make life better for his people, for his family, his organization, his states, or wherever. So impactful leaders are purpose-driven. In fact, if you are in leadership and you don't have purpose, you don't know. In fact, you don't even know where you are going to. You will just be wobbling. Anything goes. There is no direction. There's no guidance. There is no value guiding that can be done and what cannot be done. There is no intention. There is no passion. There is no desire to make a positive difference. So the purpose-driven nature of an impactful leader is the one that brings about that that fuel, it is the one that fuels his passion. It fuels his passion. It is the one that makes you see the drive in this individual. The desire to make a positive difference can be clearly seen in his action. Everything will be clear and you will see it. So even you, if you are the one that is the led, you will be you have no reason not to join. You will now have this willingness to follow our leader. We have this purpose. We are chasing this target, and we are going to get there. And before you know what is happening, you are able to achieve that purpose. So impactful leaders are purpose driven. Like I said before, that all these characteristics are interconnected and they reinforce one another, and they help the leader to achieve his purpose. The other thing that we're going to look at today is how impactful leaders create a lasting impact. How they create lasting impacts in the life of the people they are leading. Impactful leaders, they develop and empower others. They develop and empower others. Just like I was saying before, identifying talents and strengths within. Okay, thank you, and welcome back. Welcome back. So we are talking about how impactful leaders, create lasting impact. And by saying that impactful leaders create lasting impact by empowering others. They develop and empower others. That is why you see organizations send workers on training, within that group, whether family or organizations or country or whatever. If there is need to develop members of this association or organization or certain people, let's say for instance a president of a nation that is an impactful leader and had identified something that he values, he thinks that will be helpful to his own country. This leader now can come home and decide that the relevant people in his cabinet that are going to implement this will go to this other country to learn this thing. He will now sponsor because of the need. There is a clear, they've checked, and this it's clear that if they learn this thing and bring it home, it's going to bring a change. An impactful leader will send the relevant persons to go and learn and come. And by doing so, he has developed them. He has empowered them. By the time they come back, these people that have been empowered could empower more people, maybe those under them. And then you find out that implementing what the main leader has seen somewhere will become easy. So an impactful leader empowers and trains people, develops people to be able to help him to achieve the overall goal of the organization or the society or the group, as the case may be. So impactful leaders drive positive change and innovation. They drive positive change and innovation. Honestly, if there's anything that leadership can do, is to bring positive change. If a change that is being brought by leadership is negative, then there's a big problem. Leadership is supposed to make things easier and better. And there's need for continuous improvement anywhere we find ourselves. There is nobody that wants to remain the way the person is year in, year out. We all desire to grow. We all desire to be better. The way we desire as individuals to be better. That is how a leader desires improvement, betterment for his for the people he's leading, the organization, the society, the association, the state or nation. An impactful leader desires to see a change. So he now takes it upon himself to grow, to drive this positive change. And so, in doing that, he uses everything within his power to drive positive change and innovate. Innovate. If there is anything good anywhere, an impactful leader is the one that will harvest it for his people. So he's an innovator. He's an innovator. He plants things that will be better than what he met on ground. That is how much an impactful leader can go to impact or create lasting impact. Impactful leader creates lasting impact. He builds strong teams and cultures. He builds strong teams and cultures. How does the impactful leader build strong team? Of course, there's a way people we associate with rubs off on us. When a leader, there's no leadership that's alone. Every leader leads with people. Every leader leads with people. So when you are leading, you have people working with you. And then if you are the type that have value to give, your value rubs off. It rubs off on all the people surrounding you. Consciously or unconsciously, and because you are the one leading and holding their hand to make these things happen, it becomes a part of them. Before you know it, your team becomes formidable. People that ordinarily, and remember, because you have the ability as an impactful leader to place the right people in the right position, give the right responsibility to the right people, you find out that your team becomes formidable over time. Let's say an executive, or maybe a council of state, or state executive council, or or that kind of group of people. Because the leader is an impactful leader, he rubs off on them. And before you know it, he is able to, strengthen the bond within them. And then they become a formidable team that within this crop of people, whatever they decide to do, they're able to do it. So this is how far an impactful leader can go to impact the team he's working with. There is no way, in fact, because an impactful leader is always someone that have a focus where he's going to, he's purpose driven, he kind of finds a way of making everyone working with him to move in that direction with him. And so before you know what is happening, they have become strong. And that is how strong cultures are built into places. There are some organizations today, they've been there for many years. There are culture, organizational culture that was planted by some people that, let's say, the formators of that organization. ICANN is one of such institutions that had strong culture laid down from inception. There are other, like say, let's say a bank like First Bank that have lived more than 100 years, and is still there. There are cultures that are associated with such lasting institutions. Somebody planted it, and over time, it was handed over from one leadership to another leadership. And whenever people gather together, maybe meetings and all that, there's always a way of reminding everyone, successive leaders of that same organization, that this is our culture. This is how we do it. So, impactful leaders build strong cultures that outlive them. An impactful leader fosters a sense of community and belongingness. he has a way of making people, to come together and have a sense of belonging. They are not detached. They are close to the people. They have this way of bonding with the people they are leading and make them own up their success. An impactful leader makes the people he's leading to become part of the general objective of the organization, and they run with him. It gives them this sense of belonging. He makes them own it. He makes them own the process of achieving their organizational objective. So, this is one of the ways they make lasting impact in the life of those they are leading. They make them have a sense of belonging. They make them have a sense of community. They make them share the value of the organization. Then impactful leaders leave a legacy that continues beyond their tenure. Impactful leaders leave a legacy that lives beyond their tenure. We see them across the world. We see them here. We see them here in small groups, wherever. We cannot overemphasize the importance of impactful leadership, because they are the people that put down things for the future. An impactful leader takes an organization and turns it around and, puts down legacy that outlives them. That years to come, people will continue to reap from what an impactful leader did many years ago. So, an impactful leader is, because he's a visionary, he sees tomorrow. He sees beyond today. He sees beyond himself. In fact, an impactful leader sees beyond himself. He's not selfish. In fact, he's the last person he thinks about. An impactful leader thinks his organization first, thinks his people first, before himself, because he has a bigger vision. When he thinks about others, his vision is bigger. A selfish vision is very little. What do you need on earth? Highest you live 100 or more than whatever number of years you live, you go. But an impactful leader, within the time he's leading, is able to leave a legacy that outlives him, that benefits generations to come. He thinks broadly. That is why some people, say that some people live for higher purpose. Impactful leaders are they are the people that fall under that category of those that lived for higher purpose. Yes, there are people that came here for self and family. They come here and they live for themselves and for their family and go. But there are people that come, they have a higher purpose they are chasing, and they are able to live that higher purpose, and they leave a legacy of lasting impact. You see it everywhere. And so, as we round up this segment of this discourse on impactful leadership, I want to thank everyone that had the time to log on to join me in this session. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. I can't thank you enough for joining in and also leaving your comments. I can see them. This is a thoughtful topic. Thank you, Esther. You are right about impactful leaders making decisions that outlive them. Thank you. Yeah, you are right. They make decisions. They make impact. They leave legacy of goodness. They leave a legacy of goodness for posterity, for people to come to, to benefit from. Thank you. Thank you, Shooks. Thank you, Chinedu. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for logging on. Thank you for joining me in this session. Please, I look forward to sharing the next part of this, because I want us to look at people, leaders across the world that made global impact. In my book, The Woman You Are, I don't know if you have come across this my book. This my book is my second work, was unveiled in March of this year. I started this research on leaders that made global impact, and the name of one of the people featured in this my book, among the women that succeeded during the COVID era, women leaders, that's women in COVID era. That's the chapter 2 of this my work. Women in COVID era, women leaders in COVID era that succeeded. It's a chapter in this my book, The Woman You Are. So when her name came up, I just smiled and said, well, why wouldn't her name come up? Because while some leaders are wobbling some places, there were some leaders that had clear focus of what they were going to do during that COVID era, and they were able to curtail it well enough. And globally, they were recognized and acclaimed and praised for their efforts. Some of them were women leaders across the world. They are the people featured in chapter 2 of this my book. So I look forward to discussing, leaders that made impactful leaders that made global impact that we are still seeing till today. Because we really need to learn. Honestly, we need to learn, and we need to inspire people to come out for leadership. We need to inspire quality leadership across board. Who is going to do it if not leadership? Who is going to do it? If we don't, by the grace of God, get to a point where someone says, I want to live for a higher purpose, you will find out that a country like Nigeria will not get it right. It is only when there is somebody that determines and says, I'm going to live for a higher purpose. That is when you will see this country turn around. Because living for a higher purpose transcends self. It transcends self. And it has this driving force that pushes the person to outdo himself in well-doing. Because we're talking about doing good. When you are desiring the good of others or to impact others, it is all about giving value and doing good. So I round up here, and I want to say thank you. I look forward to sharing these other aspects soon with us. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Promise. Thank you, Shooks. Thank you, Denmark. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. God bless you for logging on. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So see you in my next live session. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Anne. God bless you. God bless you, everyone. We'll see in the next session very soon. I will let you know. God bless you.